We want to be known for, it says it right on here, I'm being serious.
Yeah, for real. Okay.
For being the smoothest coffee you'll ever drink. That's what a business is like.
Have you guys ever thought of like telling your story?
It just has to taste good. It seems coffee is one of the most commonly consumed things in the entire world. In America alone, it's number 2 behind oil, gasoline.
Hey everyone, this is episode 3 of the Big Idea Podcast, and we are here with the man, the myth, the legend, Adam Levine. No, I'm playing. Obviously, Jonathan. How's it going, man?
What's up?
How do you feel?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You know, has anybody told you you look like Adam Levine?
I haven't gotten that yet.
It's crazy.
I'm
the weirdo.
First.
Yeah, but that's cool, man. Dude, I gotta ask, dude. So, like, obviously, we've been talking back and forth off camera, whatever. As soon as we came in, I don't know about for Christian, but as soon as I came in, the first thing I got is this aroma. I was like, dude, what is this? Obviously, I'm guessing you guys don't do any scents, but like, what are some of the main things we're producing in the bag? I'm just curious, genuinely, because obviously you guys have so much different coffee products, but just in general.
So here at the cafe, I mean, we have about like 8 different roasts usually back here. We have a full kitchen. Yeah. We're baking croissants in the morning. We're grinding coffee every day. So one of those smells you probably smelled on the way in. But yeah, it's pretty much just a full range cafe, pastry. Yeah. Coffee's usually churning. We're closed down right now. Yeah. That's why you don't hear anything or smell anything right this
second.
But
the perfect place we could have been. And for those at home, like obviously we are literally in the house. Like it's crazy. We just came in. We were like, do you think we could shoot in there? And you're like, yeah. So that's cool, man. You know, there's one interesting thing I wanted to talk to you about, because obviously with different brands and everything, like we talk a lot of, chocolate brands and some other different coffee brands and just people like in the drink space in general. But one of the things that just stood out to me like immediately is how much, like out of all the different things, how much you actually go into the Philadelphia aspect, right? And most brands that I spoke to, it's like, you know what? Oh yeah, we may be from New York, we may be from Chicago, but they lean more into like the marketing side, like what's good about our product. But for you guys, you lean into all the actual local cafe, and I think you told me you go to like different farmers markets, or at least you go to different people. I know you saw in different cafes. Can you tell me more about like why like Philly, like specifically? Like that's crazy. Philly.
Yeah. I've always admired Philly's cafe scene. Yeah, and I don't know this for a fact, but I feel that they're pretty good at keeping very large franchises out from coming in and taking over, every other corner. Yeah. I don't think I realized that as much when I was living here when I was younger, until I started traveling more and going to other cities. And I'm like, wow, like Philly for a smaller city really does have a lot of mom and pop cafes. And a lot of people making a living that way, and a lot of people who don't expand outside of Philly and really make it their own. Yeah. And I admire that. I think it's a lot of work to get your city and the people in it to believe in you and come back every single day, especially when you're up against franchises that have tons of venture capital and resources. It's very difficult. Yeah. So I was like, all right, well,
it's time.
Philly and Philadelphians seem to be embracing the coffee culture as it is. Let's try to give them the best. Like let's enter the market and try to give them the best quality and consistency and cool branding and cool events and concerts and on and on and on. So
what do you mean like they're doing more? So it's actually being more related to coffee in Philly? More people are starting to like just open more cafes, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia is very cafe centric. And I admire that. You might go to one street in downtown Philly and hear of a cafe, and it's a one of one, and then another street it's another one of one, and then you'll come to this neighborhood we're in and see many one of one cafes, and I'm just like, wow, like all these people have been around for a little bit now. It seems that's what Philadelphians want. If they didn't want it, I don't think they'd keep popping up. Some last, for a couple of years, some last for many, many, many years. I just thought that was cool. I always admired that people in the city seem to be more interested and enthralled by what someone from their city is producing, rather than
a big corporate brand or something like that.
Yeah, rather than just like, oh, this new brand with this new sign and this low price point is what I'll try today. It's more like, no, I want to try this cafe because I know the owner, and then around the block I know the barista, and then around the other way The guy who works at the front counter is also my tattoo artist. Like I just think there's a lot of community and camaraderie in the Philly coffee scene.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned, just because it sounds like everything's kind of like home based, kind of like a family. One thing we were talking about is like you actually are like one of the best people to work with. From what I've been hearing is like everybody's telling you like, hey, listen, Jonathan, it's like the best work. Obviously, I don't want to like give you all the praise, but you deserve it. But obviously, like you're talking to a lot of different people, and you were mentioning Hannah. Like, how is it working with everybody in the actual company? Because obviously, you have people kind of up there, and then you have people that are just in the company making everything happen. Like without them, you couldn't have it. So like from the baristas to the designers to everybody else, like what's that relationship working like the family?
I think it's a very good relationship. I try my hardest not to micromanage people.
Why?
Because I just feel, truthfully, like we're all adults. You all get to a point where you want to make a career in something. I believe like make your own bed, you lie in it. Like if you're making a lot of mistakes, I can give you some direction. If you ask questions, I can give you some direction. I love people who ask questions. Yeah. And it's so interesting to me. A lot of people apologize before they ask a question. They say, really? Sorry, I have a question. Sorry. I'm like, no, this is great. Yeah. This is great that you're asking me questions. And I think that relationship with coworkers and staff and chefs and cooks, baristas, salespeople, delivery people, it really needs to be there. Because no one should be nervous to ask the other person a question. Can I try this? Can I try that? Yeah. And I really try my best to bring people in a place that want to follow a system, but grow within it.
Have a little bit of creativity.
Yeah. So I really do encourage everyone, like, come up with a new drink. Like, here's a couple ingredients. No pressure. If you don't come up with anything, that's cool too. I'll go to our chefs. Here's a new pepper. Yeah. If you can come up with something, that's great. And if not, like nothing against you. One of my business partners, Obel Jr., he has some pretty great ideas on how to bring in sponsors for major events we do. And he's coordinating so much of that, like where to set up a table, what the media rights should look like, what photography should look like, and all that sort of stuff. So I just think I also try to bring in people where they take ownership of their job, their day-to-day, and no other one of us can really take ownership of that.
And what do you mean?
So like our lead barista, Itzel, she creates new drinks, she takes ownership of this, she comes in early, she stays late, she breaks down the system, she cleans up. Like, ain't nobody keeping up with that. Yeah. Like she's owned it. Like she's very important to us. I don't ever want to leave anyone out, but I'm just using only one person right now as an example. I just love when someone comes in, they know what their job is, they do a little bit more than that, and they're like, this is my job. No one's gonna touch my job. Sure. This is what I do. Yeah. And those are the types of people I try to bring in, are really people who want to excel with us. Yeah. And don't really need day-to-day direction. Yeah. But also can communicate enough when they do need some help. That's what I look for.
Like, somebody independent, but also somebody that understands, like, hey, I got a job, I gotta make it happen, right? Yeah. Yeah. And but you know what? It shows too, because we were showing a lot of things. I just realized when you were talking, I didn't realize that looked like a jersey, right? Yeah. Bean2Bean. That's crazy. And I'm just saying, like, 'cause everything moving around is like, everything looks so meticulous about the detail. I don't know if that's intentional from your team, but like every single thing, from the glassware to even the way you have the water jugs branded and the actual coffee, everything with the colors, everything looks so meticulous. And also one thing especially is the bags themselves. So officially, when we talked to you for the first time, I was like 2 months ago, maybe 3.
Yeah, about 2-3 months ago.
2-3 months ago.
Talking,
it's crazy because by that point, you already did, the redesign was already far into it, and you already started selling the bags. But when I saw the Bean2Bean bags, more importantly, the flavors, I was like, dude, I asked Christian, I'm like, dude, who makes this? I was like, who makes Ethiopian coffee? But I don't know if that's the name or whatever. But like, it's so interesting, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. When you're managing everything with the quality, right? And obviously you could kind of expand more about just the coffee itself, but from the quality of the coffee to the taste of the way it comes out.
Sure.
Are you someone that's, I know you said you don't want to micromanage, but are you saying, you know what, I got a direction, this is what we want to make sure that happens, here's the goal, here's the vision, or you know what, yeah, wherever it takes us, it takes us? What type of person are you?
I'm more of wherever it takes us, it takes us. So in terms of, quality with the beans themselves, the original founder of the company, Obel Hernandez Sr., he was a taste tester for Maxwell House for 20 years, head of quality control. So still, like, coffee comes in raw. It's actually green bean.
Really?
It turns brown, when you roast it. Whenever we're bringing in new green coffee, new raw coffee, getting samples from big burlap bags, whether it's from Honduras or Ethiopia or El Salvador, whatever country it is, I can look at it and I could see if it's, maybe good or maybe bad. But Obel Sr. can look at it and know how many imperfections it has, maybe how old it is, how long it's been sitting in a bag, was it picked off of a tree 6 months ago?
He knows all of that.
He knows all of that.
Are you serious?
Where Obel comes in is he'll do the sample roast. He'll say this sample roasted this way. Where I'll come in is more like, can this be a sellable item? Who can we market this to? Does it taste like chocolate? Does it taste like blueberry? Is it around year round? Is it around for 6 months? Is it not really around? And I'm kind of taking over more on who is this for? What should we charge? How much can we get? But he's still kind of like the initial line of defense where a sample might come in and he'll say, this is not very good. This is pretty old. We shouldn't buy it. Or, we want to keep high standards for our customers. Tell the importer, we want something else.
And how was it running the actual company? Because did you go to like college for business, or like did you do business? So when you went there, like, do you say, you know what, not everything obviously is applicable, but when you go to college, for those people that maybe don't go to college or are just in high school right now, or just, hey, I want to start a coffee brand of my own. What are some of the things that say, you know what, this, like when you're learning this in college for business school or whatever, this is what actually is applicable, and this is just crap. Nobody tells you this.
I will tell you that I believe there is only one positive thing about going to college, especially in today's day and age. Because I do truly believe we are in a day and age where everything I learned in college, you could learn on YouTube. You could create a whole curriculum, but who's going to hold you accountable for it? The one and only thing I will always appreciate about college is it forced me, whether I liked it or not, to work with tons of people for 4 years who are unlike myself. And that's it. So like, that is the most realistic part of business, is you're not going to start a business and find 17 other people who look like you, act like you, think like you, want to make money in the same way you want. College really teaches you, like, hey, you got a group project, you have to work with this group. And if you fail, or if one of you holds the rest back, that's on all of you. That's what a business is like. You can't really have someone who's slacking and pushing all the work to everyone else. And if they do, you have to learn how to deal with it. Just like college, big group projects, things like that. That is something that
is applicable to any college.
I think it's like forced socialization, like forced having to understand other people's backgrounds, cultures, religious beliefs, political beliefs. I mean, that is like running a business. So I could have studied anything in college. I will always take away from it and hold with me the rest of my life how I had to work with every kind of person.
And you know what, especially now that I'm thinking about everything, it's like you started that, but from what I remember, you were with Bean2Bean, or at least in the coffee, or at least with, Obel, or I think it was Obel, for long before you even went to college, right? Or his son or something?
No, Obel Jr.
Junior.
I've known Obel Jr. long before I went to college. We've known each other since we're about 3 years old.
Can you tell me a little bit about, maybe not exactly like every single detail, but just a little kind of bird's eye view of like, hey, how this start, how did we come about? But more importantly, like, is it a little bit weird thinking of it now? It's like, you know what, everything I'm looking at came from probably just an idea or a friend or something,
Just to repeat the question, you want to know how like we started in Bean2Bean? 2013, Obel Sr., roasting some beans, had some ideas. I'm going to give you the quick version since it's a podcast. and said I'm been at Maxwell House. I learned how to roast some coffee for a year at Caribou Coffee out in Minnesota. He came back to Pennsylvania, which is where I'm at all these years. I said, hey, I've been in the food business since I'm 14 years old. Let me taste some of this coffee, sell some for you. Yeah. And I thought that was pretty cool to sell coffee on the side. Yeah. I've always drank it, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm selling something I really enjoy. His son, Hobel Jr., and we moved into an apartment together in Northern Liberties, Philadelphia. Fast forward 2017, we started, really hustling the brand out of a basement out of there, boxes up and down. We were traveling, 45 minutes an hour just to get the roasted beans from like a midpoint where Lancaster, Pennsylvania is to here, on and on and on.
Everything bootstrapped.
Everything bootstrapped. Yeah. Credit cards, whatever money we had in the bank, everything bootstrapped. No investors. And, we've had certain financial goals and certain personal goals in mind before we start to approach investors. And it's really just been like figuring it out as we go along. Yeah. And for that longest time, we realized we had a knack for going into other businesses, other cafes, country clubs, hotels, and saying, hey, we know how to present this product. We'll stand here, we'll sample it out for you. We'll give you a good price. We'll make some nice signs for you. And that was really the start of us learning like how to brand out a coffee company. That was way before this cafe. That was way before these new bags.
Because old packaging and everything.
The old packaging. Yeah. We really always believed, and this is where I'll end, and because it holds true to everything today, is it just has to taste good.
That's the most important.
Number one. Yeah. Because people get so involved with like, well, where was it grown? How high on the mountain? Yeah. When was it picked? When this, when that? And our first thing is, what does it taste like? If it tastes good, then we'll get into the story of it. We'll learn how to price it out. Yeah. Maybe we'll buy a lot, buy a little, but it just has to taste good. Yeah. That's what we stand behind. Like all of our coffee, we do not want to sell anything just to make money. It really has to taste good, and hopefully that brings in the money for a long, long time to come.
So what do you guys like want to be known for? Because like there's so much to be. You got Philly, you got the orange and yellow.
We want to be known for, it says it right on here. I'm being serious.
Yeah, for real? Okay.
For being the smoothest coffee you'll ever drink. Yeah. We find that some coffee companies, like you'll taste the coffee that's very tea-like. In other ones, you'll taste like a super burnt dark roast, an Italian roast. Some will be right in the middle. We want to have a range. Like we want to have coffee, like I was telling you, our Ethiopian Guji tastes like milk chocolate and blueberries. We have some that taste a little more nutty, some more sweet. When we started putting all these different roasts out, after we had our first 3 or 4, we're on roast 4, people from all different areas were going, I never used to drink coffee black until I had yours. Get out of here. And then we didn't even make up this tagline as much as like we heard it like 100 times. Yeah. I want to say 3 years ago, people were like, that's the smoothest coffee I've ever had. That's the smoothest coffee I've ever had.
That's crazy. Like, yeah.
Everyone as young as 22 years old to like 65 years old. That's the smoothest coffee I ever had. My husband never drank coffee black until he had this. So we're like, you know what? The people have spoke. Like, let's just put it on the bag. Yeah. This is the smoothest coffee you'll ever drink. Yeah. And I hope that sticks around for a long time. Yeah. So that's really what we want to be known for is being the smoothest coffee you'll ever drink.
Smoothest coffee you'll ever drink.
Yeah.
Do you think in making that process it's just production, or do you think, obviously production is, in my eyes, I mean for you guys especially, it's probably number one or at least close to.
Production's big. Roast style.
Exactly, yeah.
Attention to detail. Roasting slow and low, kind of like when you're cooking some meats and you're trying to break them down and be nice and tender and juicy, like cooking at a slower time, lower temperature, rather than just, blasting a drum of coffee at a very high temperature to get it cooked. Yeah. I think that is what does it.
Yeah.
I can't prove that, but I truly believe it's with our roasting style has withstood the test of time. No matter what beans we put in the roasters, they seem to come out smooth.
Yeah, smoothest coffee you'll ever drink.
And quality of the raw materials too. Like if a bean is just not looking good, too dried out, whatever, we probably figure it's not going to be that smooth.
Because you guys actually roast, or where do you guys actually get the beans? Like, so Ethiopia, like, do you actually get it from Ethiopia? Do you guys actually?
All different sorts. Yeah. So some relationships are like, we have friends for a very long time in the coffee industry that sometimes will like piggyback. They'll buy a whole shipping container of something. And we're like, hey, you guys got a great deal. Can we get a few bags? We really want to introduce that to our clientele. Sometimes I'll look for something really special, and we have, people who've been to other countries and visited the farms and have a very good relationship where they're a broker in a way, but they only deal with maybe 2 or 3 farmers. And we're like, that's pretty special. Bring that in. So it's a variety of ways.
It's a variety of ways. Yeah. One thing I did want to ask you even before we got on camera and everything, but I haven't got the answer yet, is obviously the cafe, you have the cafe and then you have the wholesale, everything. Right now, where's most of your focus? On the cafe and the actual physical location, or more wholesale? What's the main focus? You got a lot, man. You got a lot at your plate.
I try to focus my time evenly.
Okay.
And I try to focus my time on wholesale lately in like tidying up our customers, getting them, some newer branding. Sometimes things fall between the cracks. Like we just started rebranding this last year and a half. We've had some wholesale customers for 9 years. It's like, oh wow, they still have the old black and white. Let me go tidy them up, get them new wraps, get them new signs. Let me ask them, hey, how's everything been over the last, month, week, day? So I've been really focused on making sure every one of our wholesale customers is happy. I've been doing that over the last 2 months. Last year, 2023, when we opened the cafe, I was here every day, 7 days a week, just figuring it out.
Yeah.
I won't even say growing it, just what is this? I've never even worked in a cafe. I've always been in food distribution, things like that, pizza shops. So I had a general knowledge of how it all works, POS systems, but never a cafe. So that was last year. And this year, it's more develop teams of people in both places.
Yeah.
So now that we have great teams, I can work with people like yourself or other marketing companies or professionals to be like, hey, look at what Bean2Bean has for wholesale. Look at what Bean2Bean has for cafe. And that's been the new method, is really trying to get people who understand digital media to bring more customers into both sides of the business. I will say this, both sides of the business so much require human interaction for people to buy into your brand. Like when people see myself or Obel or one of the other staff members here, they get used to it. They like to see us. Same on the wholesale end. When a shop owner knows I'm coming in to check, even on a nozzle, to make sure it's working properly, it makes them very happy. I've been spending a lot of time on both.
Yeah, and you know what? So are the people that come into the cafe themselves the main customer line, or is it more just I'm not even talking about numbers or anything. I'm just talking about, listen, this is the main people that come into Bean2Bean. Is it people that live in Philly? Is it people all over the country? Is it?
I think most of the people that come into Bean2Bean live in Philly to South Jersey, because there's a good amount of people in southern New Jersey that work in the city, work in this building that we're in. But I would say that's most of the people.
And that's just in the cafe?
In the cafe. Yeah. Most of our wholesale is also, we distribute to tons of spots in Philly, a good handful in New Jersey, and we keep growing in Manhattan and Brooklyn as well.
You're in Brooklyn?
Yeah. Oh, wow. We just opened up another new customer in Brooklyn this past Friday.
That's awesome.
Bagel shop over there. And that's pretty much where it stands. We've tried expanding in other ways, and it just fizzles out over time. There's no one there to reinforce, what do you think of the coffee? This brand's cool, right? And there's no one to really push them forward. Without boots on the ground, it's really hard to grow. So where most of the people come in the cafe, Philly, South Jersey, almost all of our wholesale and e-com, a lot of it is Philly, Jersey, New York.
I was gonna make a comment. So you kind of mentioned that there's not essentially a whole team surrounding media and all that stuff. Have you guys ever thought of telling your story, every single day coming? Obviously the podcast, but it's not. Listen, this is not going to justify for the ups and downs and all that's going into Bean2Bean. But have you ever thought of actually shooting maybe a vlog, or maybe sharing your story online day to day?
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
We used to do a lot more storytelling during the COVID times because it was making people feel good and there wasn't much going on in the world. So we got heavy into storytelling. Now we're in an era where I feel like people want new, well-priced stuff, whether it's food or coffee. So I think we will at some point get back to the storytelling. Maybe that's January, February when it's cold, people are locked in their homes. We do more of an e-com digital media push. But I know right now people want really great food, really great coffee. They want to hear about it, they want to know about it, and they want a deal on it. Yeah. So that's what we've been doing the last few months and seems to keep working.
I gotta ask you this, because it's just always so personal to me. I always find this fascinating. But as I'm noticing this conversation, you're telling me everything. You're telling me about how the employee relationships work. You're telling me about production. You're telling me about how you actually make the beans. You're telling me about you come in the coffee shop and actually see if the nozzle's right and everything.
You keep asking.
Yeah, there you go. No, I know, but you go into so much depth, So I gotta ask, why do you why specifically Bean2Bean? Because I'm guessing you could have had so many different jobs or so many different opportunities. What's so special about Bean2Bean? The brand itself.
I like that I can put my brain into something. Yeah. That because it doesn't need to be refrigerated or frozen or preserved. Yeah. That it can reach anyone in the world. So that's why it's I've worked in all different aspects of food. Yeah. I've worked in events, and those are awesome. I love doing events here. Yeah. But coffee is amazing, and I quickly realized this when I first started. Or a couple of friends of mine live in Japan, France, Israel, and I sent them coffee out. Yeah. And it got to them in 7 to 10 days. And I was like, wow. And we have a customer who moved out of Philly to Hawaii, still orders our coffee. And I'm like,
so from Hawaii?
Yeah. I was like, this is insane that, I couldn't think of how to get a lot of things that I might have been involved in to just everybody in the world. Yeah. And it's cool that, not saying that we're going to, ship to every country in the world, but it's amazing that the possibility is there. If someone were to order our coffee in Brazil tomorrow, we could ship it out. Yeah. So that's really why I love Bean2Bean. It seems coffee is one of the most commonly consumed things in the entire world. In America alone, it's number 2 behind oil, gasoline.
Are you serious? I don't know.
It's the second most consumed commodity.
Yeah. Isn't tea number 1? Or am I wrong?
Oil, gas, or coffee. Maybe coffee and tea are kind of in the same category. Yeah. But that's why. Yeah. I just think it's cool that myself, I didn't design this bag, but I had a part in, picking out this coffee for the bag. Yeah. I have a team of people who designed the bag, a team of people who talk about, our story of our companies on the back. And I just think it's cool that all of that, this is a life's work. Could reach someone in California in 2 days. Could reach someone in Canada in 4. I just think that's cool. I want to keep putting my all into something that could really just make people happy when they consume it wherever they are in the world.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you this, and this is the question it's literally the title, but I think for you it's especially important because now we're talking about the company itself. What's the big idea for Bean2Bean?
What's the big idea for Bean2Bean? We've been asked it a lot. Yeah. Are you going to open up another cafe? When are you going to open up in New York? When are you going to do this? When are you going to? I'm like, I hope this doesn't let you down. Yeah. But the next big idea is just to see where the world and life kind of pulls us. And, I have this belief, and I talked to Bell a lot about it, that, we can't force anything, but once something starts to get a little hot, once we see wow, people are really liking this, let's put let's triple down into it. Yeah. Let's really push that out. So I don't like to just dictate the next big idea. I could say the next big idea is cafe number 2. And maybe more and more people are well, no, why don't you just do big events at cafe number 1? Yeah. Maybe the next big idea is to I don't know, start a nationwide e-commerce campaign or worldwide. Yeah. Maybe along those lines, we get pulled into open another cafe in New York. Who knows? Yeah. That's this year's 2024. I feel like we're finally getting our groove. Customers are speaking very highly of the product. So it's all right, it seems we're doing a lot right. I don't want to force anything. maybe January 2025, we'll sit down, we'll have ideas for the year. But right now, I'm like, the next big idea is like, just let the universe kind of show us and then go that way.
Interesting.
Because if we didn't do another big idea right now, I think we'd be all right. Like the cafe is going all right, wholesale is going all right, everything, and every business owner says this, it can always be better.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm so confident. Like if we keep doing things and more people keep giving us positive feedback, I truly believe the next big idea will present itself.
And do you think that should be adopted for other business owners in general? Or do you think it just depends on brand to brand to brand?
I think everybody should have plans for their business. I don't think that all plans deserve the same level as sticking to them as other plans. I think that a lot of business owners should have plans, as we do too. And one of the biggest faults I see is maybe giving up too soon, or not at all. It's like not knowing when to call it in. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to know in the first month. Like sometimes you got to let it go a little bit longer. But I see a good amount of business owners just like let not the best idea, next big idea. They don't let it flourish, cut off too soon, or they think it's the next big idea no matter what everybody else is telling them, or their customers are telling them. And they'll go 2 years like hoping things change and not really getting it. It's like, well, your big idea 2 years ago is not what the people want. So in a way, like you got to put a lot of yourself into the brand, but you also got to let the customers decide, what it is they want from you to keep putting out. That's also why I'd say when you're a newer brand, when you're just getting going, like don't put one thing out in the world, put like 10 things out in the world. See what people are liking, maybe you don't need to put a lot of money down on each thing, but you could play a lot of hands at once and see which hands are the winning ones, fold the other ones, and then go with that. So I would definitely hope that I always have that insight too, that I can know when to quit something and when to keep it going.
You know what?
I pray for that.
We pray for that?
Yeah.
I like it. Listen, Jonathan, it was a pleasure talking to you. You know what? This is like literally the most in-depth podcast we had so far. And I'm telling you, we got to come back when you're in cafe number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10.
For sure. I'm glad you came to that.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, man. It's really good to meet you.
Thanks. Yeah, where do you guys come up with this coffee?
What do you mean?
The flavor is like, it's just amazing.
And the girl Erin